Our actions are driven by our imaginations, and our imaginations draw upon metaphors, images, and stories that are handed down to us by our communities and traditions, often in ways we aren't even aware of. I invite you to a month-long, fully online course called The Evangelical Imagination, a course centered on my book of the same title. This course is open to anyone through Bethel's Seminary for Everyone option. In the first week, we'll define social imaginary, evangelical, and discuss the metaphorical nature of language. We'll consider the social imaginaries that influence us all as members of various communities and the ones that influence us as evangelicals in particular. In other words, we will look at some of the metaphors, images, stories, and expectations we inherit from our faith traditions and larger communities, considering what those metaphors and images get right and where they might go off course. We'll discuss in brief outline the 300-year history of the evangelical movement and consider the way in which that history is tightly woven into the rise of the British Empire, the formation of America, and our culture today. This will help us see how a religious movement is closely connected to its historical and cultural context. Then we'll look at the influence evangelicalism had on the Victorian era and vice versa to help us consider the ways in which we can easily confuse what is cultural with what is truly Christian. In the second half of the course, we'll dig deeply into some of evangelicalism's most defining metaphors, in particular, conversion, testimony, improvement, empire, and reformation. Through all this, we will develop an eye with which to better see the metaphors, images, and stories that fill our imaginations, and we'll develop more awareness of how we can lean into the truth they offer and discern the way they might be distorted or incomplete. Imagination is a rich gift from God. Learning to steward it well, not only in our individual lives, but in the way we imagine things in community, is an interesting and important challenge in living out a robust faith. I can't wait to hear your own questions and insights into this discussion about the evangelical imagination this June. I hope you will join me.